These are 3 must-haves to level up, okay? This is once you're up into the multi-millions. Now, if you put this stuff in place early, you'll get to the multi-millions much faster. It took me 3 years, I think. Yes, my 3rd year in business, we did 975. And I had some of this in place. Some of it, I just lucked into it. But again, pay attention, soak this stuff up, and it's valuable for you at any number. If you're 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 million, this is critical information, okay? So, number 1 must-have to level up, aligned incentives. So I'll tell you a story real quick about draft horses. The most common draft horse people know about is a Clydesdale, but there are other kinds of draft horses. They're essentially large breed horses that pull stuff for a living, okay? Get out your calculators, because I want you to think about this. A single draft horse can pull 8,000 pounds. How much do you think 2 draft horses can pull when you hitch them together on the same load? Well, if one can pull 8,000, you would assume that 2 can pull 16,000. But 2 draft horses, when hitched together to the same load, can actually pull 24,000 pounds naturally, and they can pull up to 32,000 pounds when trained to work together. Pretty crazy, right? It's pretty cool. It's like a little teamwork analogy. When you're pulling in the same direction, you can lift more. So you and the people at your company need to be hitched up to the same load and pulling in the same direction. You need to have aligned incentives to take your company to a new level of accountability, profitability, ownership, and to have it be so that you can have some freedom. You don't need to be there every single day watching everything. You need to have aligned incentives with your employees. You guys got to be hooked to the same load, going the same way. Okay? So if you walk into a barbershop one day, bear with me. You walk into a barbershop and say, hey, you think I need a haircut? I'm here. I'm just shopping. Do you think I need a haircut? I bet you every single one of them would say yes. And if you ask a mechanic if I need an oil change, they'd be like, of course you do. And you need a 15-point inspection. And then they're going to find out that you need tires and you have a tie rod at. I'll just replace it for you today, right? But now think about your business. Lawn and landscape, probably. If your guys go faster, you make more money. But if your guys go faster, they make less money. So if you walk in the barbershop and say, do I need a haircut? Of course you do. Come on in, sit down, I'll line you up. Okay, well, if you ask your guys, hey, you need to hurry today? Would that benefit them in any way to be like, yeah, I need to hurry so I can get off the clock and make less money? Right? The hourly system is antiquated, and it's a misaligned incentive where you're pulling on opposite ends of a rope. Owner wants you to hurry up and be efficient. Guys want to go slower so they can get into overtime and make more money, okay? It's very hard to grow a business without aligned incentives. And the businesses that scale up to the moon and just skyrocket, it's because it benefits everybody to do the activity that's revenue and profit generating. So probably don't need to worry about this in the smaller stages, but in order to go to the next level, you've got to have some form of aligned incentives in your company. It could be P for P, like everybody's talking about. It could be a profit sharing program, right? It could be monthly bonuses and targets even for your office staff. Of course, your sales staff needs to have stretch goals and benchmark goals and quotas. And then your executive leadership might need to have, at the very least, profit sharing, phantom stock, equity, right? Something so that when you're sitting on that beach getting the platter of food coming out to you, the people back home are incentivized for the business to do well. There are all kinds of books on this. I teach some stuff on this as well, but just be thinking in this direction. You have to get in sync with your team, with your vendors, and with your clients, and with your community for that matter. You got to be marching in the same direction like the Clydesdales do, okay? Here's point number 2. These are the more advanced topics that I think you need, that I use. And again, let me go back to the very first slide and tell you, these are 7 things I use that print money. They print millions of dollars for me, okay? Here's number 2, specialized silos. As your business gets bigger, You need segregated, specialized crews doing their task. You need segregated, specialized managers managing those people doing their tasks, okay? You need to standardize the flow between those two. So in the beginning, you might have a guy who's doing sod for 3 days out of the week, and then he's loading up and mowing some lawns, right? Or a guy who's fixing an irrigation system, and then he's going to go run a skid steer for half a day. As you get bigger, you need to have these more and more specialized. Even in my company now, we have residential mowing crews. We have commercial mowing crews. We have landscape install crews. We have enhancement crews, pest control, fertilization. We have a guy who just aerates. We got bed and bush crews, right? We have inside sales, outside sales. All these things are siloed, but they all need to communicate and talk too. They're not independent of each other, but they can operate independently, okay? They need to communicate, and they need to have departmental meetings. So you need to have a meeting with your sales team, a meeting with your admin team, a finance meeting, right? You need to have communication in those separate elements of your company. So think of this. Think of a restaurant, okay? Well, what if the waiter was the cook? Like, how efficient would that restaurant run? Right? Or like, what if the lady at the cashier was the dishwasher? Right? That's a silly example that illustrates a point. Well, what if your FERT guy is your skid steer operator? It's going to be a pretty tough business to build, right? What if your salesman is your project manager? Right? I see that all the time. Your org chart of your business needs to be correct. There's a right way to build it and a wrong way to build it. This is not like you need to reinvent it, or it's different in my market, or my guys don't get it, or my customers won't do that, right? None of that doesn't matter. There is a right way and a wrong way to structure your org chart. Now, I will tell you that the baseline key that you should be working towards is that sales is a separate silo from operations. I do know one guy in Utah, he's doing a couple million, and he has a business model where his people that manage the performance of the work also sell the work. But he's the one person I've ever met, and it's a unique market, a unique business model. But in general, this is, again, picture the Clydesdales pulling against each other, right? Well, imagine if you tell your key person, hey, I need you to go sell all the work, and then I need you to manage the performance of the work. Well, let's say this individual then goes and sells a bunch of work. He's motivated, and then he goes, oh crap, I got to go fulfill all this. We're behind. It rained. I got to go manage the crews. Then he freaks out and shifts his attention to managing the crews. Then the backlog shortens up and he needs work again. So then he goes out and he's trying to sell, right? That's like two Clydesdales pulling in opposite directions. What you need is you need someone in the company that their sole responsibility is to sell as much work as humanly possible at all times. They are grinding. And you need somebody at the company whose sole responsibility is to install or perform as much work as fast as they can with a high degree of safety and quality. And then you need these two people to communicate and both just stay in their lane and rip, okay? And then eventually you need a CEO who helps those silos communicate, okay? And so then that might be, as you get bigger, might be of a sales manager. And then they have a sales team of sales reps. And then like a marketing person and a biz developer. But the sales manager is the tip of the spear when it comes to just blowing the doors off, baby. And then on this side, you have like an operations manager, and below them, they have like division managers or project managers, whatever you want to call it. But you have these two entities that are in individual silos, and they have their own set of priorities. That is a key as you get bigger, is to segment those two silos out, okay? Here's the third tip. Advanced metrics and reporting. You need dashboards and scorecards for each department or division of your company as you get up into the millions. It doesn't need to be fancy. You don't need to pay for software. Most of my business is on free, like Google spreadsheets, right? But you need to remember that your business is a math problem. And in order to improve your business, you need to pay attention to the math. And if you want to sell your business someday, they're not going to care what color your logo is, or how's the vibe in the office today, or that guy's worked for me for 12 years, right? Those are all good things, and culture is important, but they're going to be looking at numbers on a sheet of paper when they sell your business. And I hope you sell it for a massive amount of money. And I hope you can prove to them over time, Hey, look at all these numbers, man. I've been tracking this stuff forever. We are a healthy, valuable asset, and you want to buy us for top dollar, okay? Business is math. Now, as you grow, you need people on your team to understand the math. This probably sounds like a whole bunch of work for you, but what it comes down to is you understand the math, and other people are responsible for delivering on those numbers, okay? You need to know what metrics matter, what the metrics need to be, and who's accountable for them. And you need to look at them all the time. So one of the things that I really learned as I grew my companies is that you can't have a bad year if you're watching your metrics every month. And you can't even have a bad month if you're watching your metrics every week, because you can course correct. You see, oh, we're off track here. Let me get back on track. And you can't even have you can have a bad week. I mean, crap happens. Business is the hardest sport in the world, but you can't really have a bad week from a metric standpoint if you're checking this stuff every day, because you can quickly identify problems and you can course correct, just like the spaceship example, okay? The metrics are like an oil change. You're like, oh man, I see a light. Let's check this out, right? And again, you don't need to obsess over them, but you need a standardized system in place for your business to gather the metrics and report them to you. Now, here's one more very valuable tip for everybody here. The person who is responsible for the metric needs to be the person who's pulling the metric for you, okay? So what I used to do in the early years, I had a couple managers, mid-level managers, and I would pull these job costing reports and I would print them off and I'd put them on the guy's desk. And it would show, where are we making money, where are we losing money? Is this job red? Is this job green? And I do it every morning for them. And they would look at the numbers and go, okay, got it. And they'd throw the sheet of paper in the shredder and they'd go out to work all day, go manage crews. But then I said, you know what? How about you guys pull these numbers? And how about you pull them manually? You write them down on a sheet of paper. It doesn't take that long to figure out some of these metrics. And the day that they started doing that is the day that my whole business changed. Because now, not only is the person aware of their number, but they're aware of what's impacting the number because they're the one pulling it. So now they start to learn, wow, they're down today. This number's red. Why is it red? Holy smokes. I should check my math. Did I do that right? And they get out their pen and their calculator and they pull it again. Wow, this is red. And now I kind of got a feel for, what happened? Oh, he had a flat tire yesterday. They were broke down. They were sitting on the side of the road for half an hour. That really screwed up my numbers. A half an hour, eh? That screwed up my whole day. I'm gonna go, put goo in all the tires in the entire company now, right? So this doesn't happen again. It got my managers engaged in driving the metrics, okay? The best managers, best people in your team in general, are competitive. And when they see red, it bugs them. And you give them the opportunity to go, hey, dude, I know your numbers are bad. Let's see what you can do about it. And the fact that they're pulling them for you is a game changer. So I would highly encourage you, if you're small, get your right-hand man looking at the numbers with you. If you're big, start getting those departmental managers to do their own job costing. Get your sales manager to do their own scorecard, right? And have them pull their scorecard for everybody on their squad and report it. It's a game changer. Now, remember what I said in the beginning is that anybody, anywhere, pretty much any market, right? I'm sure you could make an example to me that there are certain people that this wouldn't work for. But I firmly believe that just about anybody, anywhere, at any time can build a nicely sized, valuable, profitable business with enterprise value.